So this has been a long-awaited video. A little disclaimer here. I know that many people are not going to agree with what I have to say. I don't mean to offend anyone. This is my personal thought about the situation that everyone is currently facing. We are all, in my opinion, we're all victims of society. I'm not trying to blame anyone here. As a society, we are the victims, people who are watching my video, and I'm not blaming any particular gender. So, okay, let's begin.
I just wanted to freeze this video for a little bit and just tell you guys that everything I said is allegedly, and these are my personal opinions. I'm also not claiming the things that I said to be facts in this video.
My thoughts about feminism is that primarily, as any ideology, it has started in good, it had a good future and like a good aspect to it because everyone learned this in school, okay? And I don't know the dates, okay? I'm not someone smart or someone who's claiming to be smart. I have no idea about the dates and I'm too lazy to memorize it. So, we all know that women have been given rights and, in my opinion, that's a good thing because everyone deserves rights. I feel like even animals deserve rights. This is like a historical event, so we learn this in school. My problem with any ideology is that it starts in good terms. So just like communism, it has good aims and goals, basically. But so that's in theory. So in theory, like when you hear rhetoric about someone who is very well spoken and talks about any ideology, we're very susceptible to that and we believe in that. But as any ideology, once women's got the right, the people who further carried this ideology are unfortunately mostly women who didn't believe in the family institution, women that didn't want to get married, or lesbians. So women who, inherently hate men, some of them who have carried on this feminism movement. So, the ones that started this movement in the beginning, they were the ones who were married and had children. And, I feel like they had good goals for women. Like they had good, what would that word be? Ambition, I guess, or like good ideas. But the ones that have carried this ideology on, mostly they were women who didn't want to have a family, didn't want children, or just frankly lesbian. I have a big problem with the feminism movement because in the Western world, in Western schools, we learn about feminism and, it's such a big part of our education and that women should be independent and should solely focus on their career. And it's like, it's so prestige. Yeah, you're basically valued more if you are a career-orientated woman. That's what we learn in school. But in the real world, that is not, like, career is amazing, but naturally, it's not what makes a woman happy and it's not what fulfills a woman. We're not taught in schools about how to be good wives and how important is family, how important are traditions. We're not taught about the difference between genders in school and that we're not equal. Even though we got like equal rights, it doesn't mean that we're equal. And nor as a woman, you should strive to be equal as a man because that's not right. We're not born equally. We have different chemicals in our body, like we work completely different. Women are very empathetic, emotional, they're very patient, and men are protectors and they are risk takers. We're not equal and we will never be equal, and I would never want to be equal to a man or anyway. So let's go back to, we're not taught this in schools. So we're taught that we should be career oriented and we're not taught that building a career leads to nothing. It leads to women being single their whole lives because they focused their whole life in their career. And the other thing is, I know that like in some religious schools, children are taught about, traditions and, it's more traditional, but the majority of people, let's say like we became less religious, and I feel like every school should implement the difference between genders and why we're not equal. And if the lines are blurred, then it's going to be a crazy world. And that is what we're facing right now. The lines have been completely blurred and people are completely lost, both man and woman. Okay, so recently I went across the internet on YouTube and I found a video of an attractive woman, and she's talking about how her whole life she's been sexualized by men and basically how she's afraid of men. Okay, so let's talk about why women before used to wear very modest clothing. So basically, a man gets easily provoked by sexuality of a woman. And that's why women got married off very young before. So then that when she got married, her husband took complete responsibility of her, because women didn't have rights. Okay, so she was protected by her husband, and women used to wear very modest clothing, because the first thing a man, when he sees a woman, the first thing he's thinking about whether like he should sleep with her or not, like whether she's hot or not. That's just every man, even the nicest guy in the world, thinks about sex. And that's just something that is an instinct. It's a survival thing. It's in man. Like, this is never going to change. Even the nicest man will think about sex. And when he sees an attractive lady that has her boobs out and you can see her tits, he thinks that, naturally, like, even this is subconscious, okay? He thinks, she wants to have sex, and I can try on her. So this woman, she's very attractive, and she's sitting with her, like I can see like her whole like tits, and they're just like the thing I can't see are her nipples, and she's talking about how her whole life she's been sexualized. Well, honey, I'm so sorry, like, you're a beautiful woman and I'm sure you're an amazing person, but if you go around dressing provocatively, don't expect not to be sexualized. So like, if I'm gonna dress in a very provocative way and I'm gonna go out with my friends, of course I'm gonna be sexualized. That's just instinct, and man's instinct. I'm kind of like radiating. I'm radiating, hey, I'm here, take me, I'm interested. If I dress like that, I want that attention. And that's normal. Like, a man, that's how they work. Even the nicest guy in the whole world will still sexualize you, because obviously you're signaling that you want to be sexualized. Okay, so and that's never going to change. Okay, that's how men are. And just think about it, like, why, if I'm going to dress differently, will I be sexualized if I change something in myself? If I really don't want to be sexualized, I really don't want man's attention, and I dress in a very modest way, and I don't wear makeup, and I act very modest. I'm a very modest woman, I don't look in man's eyes, and I'm very like, no one is going to sexualize you, honey. You're not going to be sexualized. And that is precisely why in the past women would wear long dresses, and they wouldn't show skin. I'm not sure if people are actually understanding this, because in schools we're taught this idea that like, and society says that like, it doesn't matter how you dress, a man has no right to do anything, and yada yada. And that's true. If you get raped, that's effed up. But sexualizing and raping is a very different thing, okay? And if you are dressing in a certain way, or you're acting very promiscuously, of course, that's an instinct of a man. He's going to immediately want to try on you and try to have sex, okay? So like, that's what I don't understand. And these type of women then go out and they like, they're against man and they act aggressively. But the thing is that we've been all lied to. We always act like victims, and like we're victims, and men get more money than us, they get better jobs. So, but we ultimately have the power over these men, okay? Because like, as I mentioned, a man is very easily influenced by a woman's sexuality, femininity, and he's very always interested in sex. And that's just an instinct that men have. We don't really have that as a woman. We don't see man and think, like, I want to fuck him so badly, if we don't have emotional connection and like emotional history with that person, okay? That's not natural for women, but for man, it is natural to see a woman and want to sleep with her immediately. So what I think with feminism, what is happening is that it's not only affecting women, because if you look at the statistics, most feminist women are not married. Either they're lesbian, or they're like they don't have husbands and they don't have children. And us humans, we are meant to live, like, we're meant to have a family, we're meant to reproduce. As women, we're meant to reproduce. So I don't want to offend anyone. Like, I'm so sorry if I'm offending you, but that's how I see it. And why do we let damaged people take control? And why are we pushing this ideology so much? That's what I don't understand, because essentially it's ruining people. It's making them lonely, and loneliness leads to mental health. And there have been many studies of loneliness, depression, mental health, etc. Women were very easily influenced, and that's how we've evolved, because we're more empathetic, and we're easily influenced by anything, and we're very emotional. So, and those are all the qualities that you need to raise so that's why we're like this. But so let's say a guy goes on a date with a girl, right? And the first thing that comes out of her mouth is that, like, you know, she's a feminist, and, you know, no man should tell her what to do, and she's a girl boss, and she's, you know, like, she doesn't want a man to, like, tell her what to do, she wants to be independent, etc. Then a man is like, okay, that's what a woman wants. And, like, I don't know if it will happen now, but for sure the way we're going to evolve is that men are going to be very feminine, and they're going to be similar to women, as in, you know, they're just gonna let a woman take control. And that is a very dangerous thing, because if we lose our men, like if we make them weak, and that's essentially making men weak, something really bad is going to happen. Because when we go to war, let's say, like, if your country goes to war and the men are, you know, like, they've evolved to be like women, as in very emotional, letting women take control, what will happen? Because we're not the same. I mean, men are stronger, and we need man to be man. We don't need them to be woman. It's an ideology that has been started with good goals and good aims, but then it has progressed into the ones that were, you know, the leaders of these movement. They were lesbian and inherently hated men. And just, yeah. So I think it's crazy that no one is noticing this. The reason why nowadays so many people are single is because, you know, a woman is, with social media and everything, a woman has very high standards, she's very selfish, and a man is not willing to commit to someone who is selfish. Also, he cannot satisfy her standards. Yeah, like, the whole movement, I think that it's evil. I think that it makes a lot of women confused, because they seem to not understand a very basic thing, that if you dress promiscuously, if you show body parts that are very risky, don't expect not to be sexualized. Of course you're going to be sexualized. That's an instinct of a man. And I don't understand why kids nowadays, they're being taught that, you know, it's fine if a guy likes a guy and if a woman likes a woman. And it's not something that should be shown to kids, you know, because it's not natural. So yeah, kids are very easily influenced as well, and they can be brainwashed very easily. So I'm just afraid for society. If we blur the lines too much, I don't know what will happen. Like, we're gonna make man feminine, and what are we going to do as women if a war will start? Like, are we gonna go and fight? Or what are we going to do? You know, we're not physically capable the same as men are. So no, we're not equal. And yeah, feminism, as many ideologies, same as communism, socialism, it has really good values, but then, and it has a good purpose, but then it turns into something very crazy because of the people who, you know, use this to their advantage, and they don't always have the right aims. And as I mentioned, most of the women who were feminism and pushed this movement were either gay, didn't like men, didn't want to have a family, didn't like children. And that's not a natural energy for a woman. Naturally, a woman wants a family, and she likes man, and she wants to feel protected by man. And yeah, of course, probably there were women without rights in the past that got beaten up by men. But I think about myself, and I'm like, if I have been taught that tradition is amazing from a young age, and that getting married at a young age is amazing and my life will be more fulfilled than it is right now, I would have gotten married. But because I haven't been taught this, and I've been told that, you know, you shouldn't depend on a man because he's gonna take advantage of you, and, you know, you should just depend on yourself and don't believe what men say, and etc, etc. I've also been a victim of this ideology. And yeah, guys, I don't know, I'm open to all opinions, and I'm well aware that maybe what I say, you don't agree with me, and also sometimes it's hard for me to express my thoughts, and I'm also very low in memory, so I had to keep stopping, and then all my thought pattern and my thoughts have been kind of I went blank because I don't have memory, so when I keep stopping I forget what I'm going to say. So yeah, I guess I really want to know what you guys think, and let me know down below.